I've received a couple questions from subscribers asking why don't you use the Bowline knot for climbing rather than the more complicated to tie follow-through figure eight. Instead of me explaining the dynamics of why that works, I'm going to simply show you on a climbing rope. I'm going to tie a figure eight follow-through, which is the same as a figure eight on a bight, and then I'm going to tie a Bowline knot, and I'm going to show you exactly why you don't want to use the Bowline as a climbing protection knot when you're out climbing and hooked into your harness and everything. And it'll be very clear to you quickly why we all use the figure eight follow-through knot. I'm going to tie the Bowline on this rope, and I'm going to tie the figure eight on this rope. These are an 8mm climbing rope here, just so you can see the structure of the knot. It's pretty easy, and I'll demonstrate very quickly why we don't use the Bowline for climbing harnesses. I'll just tie this around. I'll tie the Bowline here. Okay, and just for an example. Okay, let me get some more slack on this bad boy, just because you can pretend it's around your climbing harness. You can already see what the issue is. If you can't see it already, you'll see it soon enough. And then I'm just going to do the figure eight on a bight because that's the exact same knot as the follow-through figure eight. Okay, so follow-through figure eight, a little bit of loop in there, right? And then I will dress the knot just so you're confident that this is the follow-through figure eight. Make it look pretty. Okay, there we go. So there is the follow-through figure eight. You will tie that onto your harness, and you can see, even though I tied it in a bight mode, just because I don't want to spend the time to corkscrew through, it is the same knot, the follow-through figure eight here, and we've got the Bowline knot. Now, if you can't already tell why we use the figure eight, let me show you. The figure eight, once I've tied it, let me bounce this knot loose, okay? I bounce the knot loose. Pretty easy because I haven't fallen on it. And you can see here that as I just kind of pull on this, the knot does not come apart. Maybe you snug it up a bit here, or maybe you tie the security knot. Most climbers don't do this, but it never hurts to tie that extra knot, and sometimes it's good just to snug that down there. All right, good. And you can see as I bounce the knot, no big deal, right? It tends to hold its shape, even though it might twist and unshape just a little bit. Let's say it warps around. Okay, but watch what happens to the Bowline knot. Oh, you just fell off the cliff. The Bowline knot does not self-constrict at all. Under load, the Bowline stays very well. It stays there and it stays fine under tension. But if you don't have a lot of tail on this knot and you just make it really short, which is very easy to do, let's give myself some more tail here even. I'll show you again. Tie the Bowline, snug it up. All right, so let's on our climbing harness, and again, we start climbing, and this thing literally, as you're jumping up and down, the Bowline's already starting to come apart. Now, why did they teach the Bowline in the scouting program and everywhere else in sailing? Because it's a very simple knot that is easy to tie, easy to inspect, and it holds well under tension. However, under vibrating loads, this knot will literally come apart like no problem at all. I'll take the safety out just for comparison. And you can see under vibrating loads, I'll even just grab the standing part. This knot simply doesn't come undone. Plus the follow-through part, this would have, the running end here would have to snake through around, out, and all through around these loops. Whereas the Bowline, is very, very easy to have it come apart. I'll even make the loop much bigger so you can see this effect. And this is why, even though the bowline is great for camping and sailing, it is an absolute no-no to use this as a life-supporting knot, because under tension it's great, but watch when I let go of this thing. See, under tension, the knot holds, but the moment I release the tension, that rope can literally just come right out, and then the knot is toast. So it's not to say that the bowline is a bad knot, but you never ever use the bowline for life support. The figure eight is the only approved and recommended climbing knot to tie into a harness. And I do talk about that in my book here, talking about the bowline knot. Do not use this knot for tying into a climbing harness. It doesn't slip under moderate loads, but under real heavy shock loads, it can actually invert. So if you fall super, super hard, it is possible for this knot to actually kind of like fold on itself and do all sorts of weird stuff. But just see how easy it comes to be loose versus the figure eight follow through. It's a much fatter knot. It's more annoying to tie than the bowline. But when your life depends on it, the follow it through figure eight, which is here, figure eight on a bite, flat. Let's see, where is it? Figure eight on a bite. There we go. The figure eight follow through, a lot more complicated to tie, a lot more busy, but ultimately that is the knot that you want to trust your life with. Thank you very much for watching. Please check out links below to my book, The Most Crucial Knots to Know. It has that detail in there, plus most importantly, where not to use knots when they're not appropriate. Thank you very much for watching.